Hey everybody, my name is Kara Brown. I am an urban fantasy author and I am coming to you this week to talk about goals. As you guys can see, we're not in a typical location, and if you couldn't tell from the start of this video, my editing software still doesn't work. And after fighting with it for, I want to say, probably a week right now, and then trying various other editing softwares, I'm just giving up on working with it in general. So now you get to have me in my full unedited glory with my ers and ahs and hms, and I hope that's okay. I'm kind of okay with that myself, just because I want to be genuine, and I think part of the issue when it comes to editing software is that we're able to kind of, I want to say, filter out our mistakes. And at the end of the day, one of the things that I definitely want to do is I just want to be one person talking to another person and helping you along with your own writing journey and trying to achieve the goals that you have, with your own process. Now, before I go ahead and I actually do start talking about the goals, and I keep gesturing to this and I'll explain why in a minute, I actually wanted to talk about this book. This book came out by one of my writing sisters. It's called Coral and Bone. It's by Tiffany. She is one of the writers that I have gotten very close to while working with ELP. And unfortunately, her book kind of came in under the radar. And, basically it was like, surprise, the book's out. And I have been reading this book since it came in yesterday. Oh, no, it came in before that. But I've been reading the book since it came in. And it's really good. I really like it. And I just wanted to share it with you. And if you could just kind of take the time, I'll put a link down below to, get your own copy and read it and leave a review for Tiffany. That would honestly mean the world to me, because she worked really hard on this book, and I want her to be successful. So we'll go ahead and we'll move on from that. If you do that, huge thanks. Thank you. Now, I do want to talk about goals. And the reason I want to talk about goals is because, in the last week and some, when I've been doing live stream videos with my fellow lady author friends, one of the things that they do talk about is they mention that they like how organized I am. They literally watched me make this board and they wanted to know a little bit more about it. So my video is for them and it's for you. Now, to give you a little bit of my background when it comes to making goals, I used to be a project manager in the military. I had to manage a couple of shirts and work for a commander, and basically we would have to set goals that needed to be achieved by the end of the quarter. So, needless to say, I know a lot about goals and how to create them and make sure that they're achievable and all that other jazz. And what I want to do here is I kind of want to share the methodology that I have with you. Now, disclaimer, what I'm about to tell you is pretty much information that you can find in general on various other YouTubes. It's just going to be presented in a more author fashion for you, so that way you don't have to figure out how to translate that. So we'll go ahead and we'll start talking about the various types of goals. And I'm not talking about business and personal. I'm just talking about daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly. So when you make goals, the whole point is to be productive, right? You're coming in and you're trying to get stuff done and you're trying to track it. Now, when you're doing this, it can be a little bit it can be really actually very easy to get carried away with the ambition that you have for trying to achieve your goal. And that's why when you are working with goals in general, you need to make sure that they are things that you can do within a reasonable amount of time and that they are achievable. Now, I'm not saying that one of your goals every day should be make the bed, unless that's something that gives you a sense of fulfillment and helps you feel like you achieve something. That is definitely a mentality that some people have. But when I'm talking about daily goals, I'm talking about stuff that helps you kind of progress towards your overall goals. Now, I have a set of daily goals. I have 3 personal and I have 3 professional goals that I try to achieve throughout the day. Now, my personal goals that kind of revolve around the stuff that I need to do around the house, because I unfortunately suffer from some pretty serious tunnel vision when it comes to my work. So I'll wake up in the morning, I'll come into my office, and I will literally work until my husband gets home, and I have not eaten, I have not I haven't eaten, I haven't drank any water, the dishes aren't done, various other things around the house that need to get done. So my personal goals kind of revolve around self-care and pretty much taking care of my house. And the reason I have them set that way is because I'm of a mind frame that in order for me to be productive, my area needs to be at a certain level of cleanliness. And when I see that my house is in chaos, I feel in chaos, and then there's some extra stressors that come with that. I don't need that. All right. My 3 professional goals usually have to do with whatever writing I'm going to get done that day. It can be a blog post, can be a scene that I need to write, or it can be an outline. But keep in mind that when I make these daily goals, and if you make daily goals, they need to be something that you know that you can get done at the end of the day. All right. That's all I have to say about that. Now, that kind of takes us on to the weekly, monthly, and the quarterly. And before I dive into both of those, here's what I want to say. I usually don't really focus on the monthly goals if I'm going to do the quarterly goals. That feels a little redundant for me. What I do like to do is I like to make quarterly goals and then base my weekly goals off of that. So that way I know every day, pretty much every week where my focus needs to be. That helps me out a lot. It's kind of planning out big and then working small. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second, about how you can do that too. But when you're sitting there and you're working on your weekly goals, just make sure that they are in line and helping you progress towards the overall objective that you are trying to do. I usually like to have quarterly goals because they are within a reasonable amount of time frame for me. Some people like to do bi-monthly goals. Some people like to do yearly goals. Yearly is too far out for me. I don't even know what's going to happen. I don't even know what's going to happen at the end of this month. I'll tell you all about that probably closer to the end, depending on how the next week and a half go. But things happen, things change, and sometimes you'll wake up one morning and find out that 4 months of work that you've done are pretty much gone. And you have to figure out what you're going to do at that point. Now, quarterly goals are kind of interesting because when you make a quarterly goal, some people like to make quarterly goals based off of an idea. Like, I want to have more reach. Okay, well, that's nice. I want more reach. That's why I made YouTube, right? But when you make a goal that has to do with, I want to make more reach, you need to break that down as well. Exactly what are the strategies that are you going to use to make that goal happen? So that's why, and I'm going to let you guys know, I actually have this spreadsheet. It's linked down below for you. And it kind of breaks down what I'm going to talk about. This is free. Make a copy it to your YouTube, put it in Excel. It's all yours. Have it. But what I like to do is I usually have a spreadsheet, and on the spreadsheet I'll have the overall goal. So for example, last quarter, one of my goals that I had was to have my newsletter up to 100 subscribers, right? That was the goal. Now, right here in this column right next to it where I have strategies and activities, that has to do with what I was going to do to achieve that goal. So obviously I did YouTube reminders, right? Usually at the end of these videos you hear me say, hey, sign up for this and you get a free copy of what, right? So that's a strategy. I send out reminders on Twitter about it because sometimes people just forget or it gets lost in the stream of Twittering. Another thing that I do is I have an incentive. If you sign up for the newsletter, you get XYZ. And I have to make sure that I send out those reminders because things change, you reach new audiences, people hear about you. Another goal that I had, because I'm just sharing this with you guys, another goal that I had last quarter had to do, so we're talking about reach, right? I mentioned reach. So when I did my increased reach, one of the things that I did is that I wanted to spend a certain amount of time talking to people on Twitter and Instagram. And then I also wanted to have a certain amount of posts within the course of a day. So sometimes I would do daily posts, sometimes I would do multiple posts during the day if I'm on Twitter. Can't really do that so much on Instagram because then you kind of start to get whitelisted, especially if you're spamming out stuff, so you have to be careful about that. But I'm going back to the whole making quarterly goals. When you decide to make a quarterly goal, you need to take a moment and ask yourself, how exactly am I going to be able to achieve that? And then when you make those strategies, you have to ask yourself, is that something that I am able to do? Now, I'll be very honest with you. My quarterly goals are very ambitious. And the whole reason I make very ambitious and very busy goals is because for me, I would rather aim for the stars and hit the moon or keep going towards the stars, depending on how that goes. Which is why, in this quarterly goal that I have going on right now, there are certain things like I want to have 300 pre-orders for my book by the time it comes out. How exactly am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to have a pre-order giveaway. Surprise! I'm going to have a pre-order giveaway. I'm going to do reminders. I am going to reach out to people. I am going to do interviews. I'm going to do a lot of things. And the real reason I want to do that is no big surprise if you've done your research, is that if you get a certain amount of pre-orders online, the other retailers start to pay attention to that because they see that your item is becoming a big thing, and they're like, oh, hey, I want a slice of that pie, and they'll order some of your books as well. And next thing you know, your book's in a brick and mortar store, and that's definitely where you want to be. You want your book in a brick and mortar store, and you definitely want it in places like a library. So, now, let's see, what was I going to do about that? Oh, yeah, I wanted to actually share my goals with you because I like to be accountable for things that I do. So, and also to show that I'm human as well. Some of these goals I made, some of them I didn't. So we'll start with the first goal. My first goal was to have 100 people sign up for my newsletter. Got that. If you signed up for my newsletter, thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. The other goal that I had was to have my press kit assembled and sent out. I have it assembled, but because my date got pushed back, I don't have it sent out. So not my dilemma right now. The other goal I had was I wanted to have at least 10 to 30 people on my street team. Done. Thank you if you are a part of that. If you are not part of it, my website's down below. You can fill out the form and you can join it. Would love to have you part of the team. The other thing I had to do was marketing. Marketing, I'm not going to lie, I struggled with marketing. And the reason I struggled with marketing is because I overextended myself. I tried to do too many challenges, and then college kicked in, and the next thing I knew that I had to decide where my mental well-being was going to be, and I decided to kind of let my social media kind of go to the wayside. I don't regret this, just because at the end of the day, even though I do want my book to be successful, I have priorities, and college is a big priority for me. But yeah, totally didn't make that goal. Increase reach. So I did the Facebook posts and I did the Instagram, the Twitter, and all that stuff. What I actually struggled, and I'm still struggling with, is the time commitment to reach out and talk to people on the various platforms. And that's something that is my goal right now, that I'm working on. I don't think it's hard. It's just, I guess my issue with trying to reach out to people on social media is sometimes I feel like I'm just talking to the same people, and obviously that I'm gravitating towards those individuals because I like talking to them. You know, you always go where you like going. And the last goal that I had was was working on book 2. So I did complete the draft. I did let the draft rest. I did redo my timeline and check my C maps, and then I did go and cut out a whole bunch of stuff. What was the other thing I did? The last thing I wanted to try and do with the book is I wanted to be able to send it to my alpha reader, but unfortunately it is not alpha reader ready right now. And that's just because I cut out too much stuff, and there are some things that did not make sense that I had to go back and revisit, and there were some changes that happened in book 1 that I have to take into account for book 2. So that's just how it goes. That's just part of the editing process. You know, overextend, you gotta go back, correct, adjust, all that fun jazz. Now, I do want to talk about my upcoming goals for this quarter. So I have some, again, like I said, some very hefty goals. Now, the way that this board works is pretty much every time I'm able to complete the goal, I'm going to reach over and basically take the thing off, and then hopefully as these videos progress, you'll see more of this start to disappear from the bottom up. So we'll see how that goes. But here are my goals for this quarter. So again, I'm focusing on increasing my reach. I'm focusing on trying to network and trying to meet people here on social media, YouTube, all that stuff. I'm doing live streams. I'm going to start taking place in a couple of like Twitter engagements. And then I started to do an Instagram challenge, but we'll see how that goes at the end of the month. It's the first time I've actually had to host one, so I'm not sure how it's going to go, but we'll find out. The other thing I have going on, again, I mentioned the 300 pre-orders. That was the goal I had for last quarter, but because the book date got pushed back, I had to switch that over to this quarter. So we'll see how that goes. Again, I want 300 pre-orders. I want to get in the brick and mortar stores. That's my goal. Let's see. The newsletter, I definitely want to increase that on a monthly rate. I'm not going to disclose how many. Another thing that I do want to do is that, I don't know if you guys know, but I actually have a Redbubble account. If you follow me on Instagram, I do a bunch of little like doodles that are either for people or they're for my book or whatever. And I actually want to start basically selling that. Now, when I have a giveaway, I do include the swag. You know, it could be a mug or something else along those lines. And I get all that stuff through Redbubble. And I know that some people do still want that. And so I try to make it affordable by means that they can actually afford. So if you're interested, I'm going to have a link down below. Feel free to check it out. If you see something on Instagram that you think would actually look nice on a shirt or something else, let me know. And then I'll go ahead and make sure that I put it in Redbubble for you. So let's see. I'm going to have 3 giveaways. I'm going to have 1 giveaway a month. If you want to sign up for any of my giveaways, the easiest way to do it is to actually sign up for my newsletter. I do not have the swag at this particular point in time because I'm waiting for it to come in. It's coming in soon, I promise. But I'm going to have 3 giveaways. You sign up for the newsletter, you're basically entered in for all of them, and you don't get exempt. That's pretty much how that goes. Now, the rest of these goals all have to do with various writing projects I have going on. There's obviously the novella that I'm working on this month with the Camp NaNoWriMo cabin, which I'm really excited about. There is book 2 that I need to finish. I am working on a secret project with a friend that I'm actually really enjoying right now. And then I have to work on my work for Other World Comics, because I don't know if you guys knew, but I am a writer for Other World Comics, so I have to work on that as well. The last goal that I have on here, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, is actually trying to attend a con to speak at a panel. I have submitted applications to various panels, and I'll see if they'll take me. I can usually talk about a variety of subjects anywhere, ranging from basically what school life is, psychology, how to work with mental disorders in fiction, along with working within publishing itself. So we'll see what they want me for, and if they don't want me, that's fine. I'm going to go to the con and hand out bookmarks. Marketing, that's what we do here. Let's see, the other goals that I have here are actually personal goals, and I don't really want to dive too much into them, but they do have to do with basically self-maintenance, spending time with my family, and just taking it easy. I do have the ability to be a workaholic, and I do have to give myself days off, or I just overburn myself. So again, if you guys are really curious about making your own goals or anything else like that, I'm going to have that spreadsheet down below. If you have a question that I was not able to clearly basically define or answer in this video, just because I am doing this all in one shot, ask it below. I'm more than happy to help you with this. My whole ambition with creating this channel has to do with just helping other writers be successful and giving them the keys to be successful. Now, if you're kind of curious if I know what I'm talking about when it comes to any writing advice that I have to give, if you sign up for my newsletter, you do get a free copy of my short story that's out for staff meeting. If you want to pay the 99 cents, I'll throw that link down there too. It's just some pennies. Pick whichever option you want. You can always unsubscribe from the newsletter as well if you find out it's not your cup of tea. You will not hurt my feelings. I understand how it goes. Again, I do want to mention Tiffany's book. I'm going to put that link down below. If you could just take the time to maybe review it, see if it's something that you would like, it would mean the world to me, and I'm sure Tiffany would really appreciate it as well. So that is Kara Brown out, and I hope you all have a really good day today.